Well, it started really when I was in prison. God had given me a date. He said that he was going to give me a new out date because I was given almost a 13-year sentence. And as I laid in bed, I said, "Oh yeah, what's that?" And he says it's going to be in on November 21st. And he didn't say the year, but he said the date. And I said, "Okay, if that's you, how many days are there from now until November 21st?" And he said 57. And I counted it off on my calendar, and it landed on November 21st. And I was like, "Oh my God, this is really God," right? And it actually came to pass. I won a court case, and my new out date was November 21st, 2003, which took
Wow.
7 years off my sentence. That was kind of like the beginning of God speaking to me. And then I would notice that as I was finishing the rest of my time, that God would tell me things when I was in prayer for other people. Like I would gather with a group of women, and they would have prayer requests, like my mom is going to have heart surgery, et cetera, et cetera. And my natural self is getting ready to pray for her. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to pray for the surgeons and their hands. And then all of a sudden I hear, the Holy Spirit just quicken me and say, "No, don't pray for that. Pray for the blocks in her arteries to be dissolved." So I would just step out in faith and just speak what I was hearing. And then the next day we had the report that when they went to go check for the surgery, pre-surgery check, that the blocks in her arteries were now gone. They couldn't explain it, but they were gone. So these kinds of things that God was doing gave me confidence to keep on, receiving the word from the God and releasing it prophetically, making decrees so that they could be established and things could happen. So that was like the beginning of that. And because I had these fun things happen, it made me really believe, wow, I can hear God's voice. I'm his sheep. I can hear his voice. And he wants to speak, and he wants to encourage me, but he also wants to encourage other people through me. So I just learned to, believe for that and to take risks, because it's a big risk sometimes to stand on stage and say, wow, somebody's getting healed of breast cancer. What if you're wrong? Well, here's the point that I always think. So what if you're wrong? If as long as you're not hurting anyone by saying something, hurtful, painful, judgmental, critical, if you're stepping out and taking a risk, God's going to honor that. And so I would do that. And the more I did it, I believe the more we steward things and take risk when God gives us words, the more he gives us, to whom, much is given, much is required. And whoever, utilizes the things God gives them, he gives them even more.